Hello, everybody. It's a pregame show for Wednesday. 10 games on in the NBA. We're here to talk about them, look at all the injuries, look at the lineups, look at the news, answer your questions, do a dribble. You know how it all goes. So we're going to do that today. Thanks to someone who recommended Larry Birdle to you, so I had a bit of fun with that. Ended up hitting the daily one yesterday. It wasn't that hard. I thought it would be a little bit harder, but anyway. I think they give you too many moves, but that's beyond the point. Welcome, everyone who is here. Good to have you guys here. We'll get straight into Dribble Game, and there are 10 games for us to talk about. I'll answer your questions, and we'll get into whatever we need to get into on today's show. Oh, yeah, I didn't mean to say it like that, but it just ended up coming out in today's show, didn't it? All right. What are we doing here? Oh, let's do Dribble Game. Oh, hey, actually, live trade deadline show. I've talked about that already. Thursday, February 9th, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Go hit like on it already. Second thing, if you are a fantasy baseball player, I just got off the phone. Yeah, I'm that old. Just got off a call with guys who are taking the Locked On Fantasy Baseball channel. And I think they're going to do a really good job. So their stuff is going to be starting really soon. They've already got some stuff out there. You just search Locked On Fantasy Baseball on Fantasy Baseball on YouTube. I think they're going to do some really good stuff. I'm going to be working with them a little bit with some of their content and helping them with their channel. But if you are a fantasy baseball person looking for someone new and fresh coming through, Locked On Fantasy Baseball, go and check those guys out. I actually will just give a quick link to their channel as well, so you guys can see that if you are baseball fans, fantasy baseball players, you can go check that out. All right. Someone said he's here for Obi. Obi's asleep, mate. It's a public holiday here, so he's still in bed. He doesn't have to go to work today. He's having to sleep in. Jokic is out today. Not a shock on the back-to-back. There you go. No Jamal Murray. No KCP either. No Maga Porter Jr. So everyone's out in that one. That's not great. Let's do Dribble Game, then we'll come back to injury updates. What have we got on Dribble today? How easy is it? Yesterday's one was embarrassingly easy. Brogdon and Lonzo. Okay. Brogdon and Lonzo. Javonte Green? No, he never played with Brogdon. Daniel Tice? He never played with Brogdon. He was traded for Brogdon. Hold on, this is a harder one. Brogdon and Ball... Mirotic? Oh, it didn't work. So Brogdon played with Mirotic in Milwaukee. Mirotic didn't play with Ball in New Orleans? So that means Ingram won't be there. Is Randall there? Brook Lopez is the... Brook Lopez and Lonzo. Oh, yeah, in LA, of course. Of course. There you go. Let's go through injuries. Matt, you really want to know what my underwear is? I'll send you a pair. Let's... All right, let's go through this. Who's injured today? What do we need to know so far before we get into lineups? Bones is in. Bones is playing. All right. Halliburton's out. Nembhard is out. Aaron Nesmith is probable. Isaac is playing 10 minutes. KK is out. Embiid is still a game-time decision. James Harden is back. Kevin Porter's out, but Jabari Smith is back. I think that might be the end of Tari Eason. We'll see. Porzingis is out. Monte Morris is actually questionable in Washington. KCP is out. Jokic is out. Murray is out. Maga Porter Jr. is out. That is 4 starters all out. Is it 5? 4. No, yeah, Aaron Gordon's still there. They're all out. DeAndre Hunter and Onyeka Okongwu remain questionable for the Hawks. Gobert is questionable. Taurean Prince is out. Ingram and Najee Marshall are both probable. Olynyk remains out for Utah. OG Anunoby remains questionable. Andy Wiggins is now questionable with an illness. Iguodala is out. Dylan Brooks is ready to go. Ja Morant is ready to go. Of course, Steven Adams is out. We had the ridiculous news of Danny Green returning February 1st, 8 months after a torn ACL. Shout out Jonathan Isaac. Anthony Davis is likely to play. LeBron is questionable on a back-to-back. Lonnie Walker is questionable. And Rui Hachimura is going to play. So we have just got a wild amount of stuff going on here. We'll flick across, if I haven't already. No, I haven't. I should have done that already. That's bad form. Let's flick across to the lineup page so we can see where we're actually at. The only lineup we have, and the Magic are really good at throwing this out early. We know the Magic's lineup. Fultz, Harris, Wagner, Banchero, Carter, the same lineup as usual. We're still updating the Denver stuff. As you can see, 4 starters all out. And you can see those marks across here. The greens are either an in or a green P is probable. A blue Q is questionable. And then we're waiting just to update those lineups there with Murray, Porter, KCP, and Jokic all sidelined. Monte Morris is a game-time decision with a hamstring. Wouldn't be the Wizards if they didn't push someone through a hamstring injury. Speaking of pushing through injuries, Donovan Mitchell. I don't understand what is going on. All right, Donovan Mitchell hurt his groin at the end of the game. He said, it feels pretty bad. Feels like the last time. Mitchell did not practice, and the report was, hey, his status for these last 2 games is in question. Seems unlikely he's going to miss, so unlikely he's going to play, he's going to miss multiple games. And then the injury report comes out and they list him questionable. Just don't play him. Like, what are you idiots doing? What are you idiots doing? I would be annoyed, but also pretty stunned if Donovan Mitchell plays tomorrow, but they officially listed him questionable, which makes our planning part of it impossible. I was going to say fucking impossible, but I said impossible. But anyway, it's both of those things. It's very, very hard to plan when teams are disingenuous, shout out LaMelo Ball, with the injury reports. As for LaMelo Ball, by the way, he is listed questionable again tomorrow, and the troubling thing is that Gordon Hayward is listed questionable. Now, Gordon Hayward played 2 games and then sat out the back-to-back. Don't tell me a soft tissue injury, he re-aggravated it. Don't tell me that happened. No way, not in the NBA. No way that would happen. The fact that he's listed questionable after sitting a back-to-back is not great. Not great at all. Is Rob Williams worth holding? My competition ends. Yes, Griffin. Why wouldn't he be? I don't understand all of the complaints about Rob Williams. Bearded Hefner in LA. They played together. That's when I forgot it too. Lonzo played with Brooke in LA. Is Kenyon Martin still a hold? Yes, he's a hold while Kevin Porter Jr. is out. How many minutes do I think Rui plays tonight? I'd say mid to high 20s, like 27. A lot of that's going to depend on whether LeBron plays, though. If LeBron is out, they might give a few extra there to Rui. I'd say 25 to 27 for Rui. What's going on with OG status? He's questionable. I'm not, what else is going on? He's just questionable. Pacers are starting McConnell, Duarte, Hield, Neesmith, Turner. Got that lineup confirmed. That's the same lineup as last game. That's so not a surprise. With the Nuggets players out, should I pick up anyone? It's a 10-game slate. Do you have an active roster spot? The guy you'd look at, number 1, is Bruce Brown, pretty obviously. You would look at Bones Highland for sure, and Zeke Naji. They're the guys that I would look at adding if they're available. Even if none gets 10 minutes a game, do I still think D-Line is fine to be a 12-teamer? D-Line's minutes are already kind of low. Why would you think that Kendrick Nunn would get minutes over D-Line Wright? Kendrick Nunn is terrible. If Nunn gets 10 minutes a game, those 10 minutes aren't coming off D-Line. He's not going from 22 to 12. That is just not happening. And why would they literally D-Line Wright's their best point guard? He's better than Monte Morris. So I don't see in any situation that Nunn takes Wright down from 22 minutes. Why would they even play him? Should you start Tom Bryant or Middleton? I wouldn't bother with Tom Bryant with Davis back, to be honest. I'd rather go with Middleton, even though he is limited in minutes. I'd still go with him. Do you sit him today? That's going to depend, Zip, as to are you in a games cap league? In a games cap league, I'd probably sit him. If you've got other options, it's going to depend. But like that Bryant one, I'd have him over Bryant. Nah, the way you signed Rob Will is nuts. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Do I look ahead at playoff schedule? Literally never. I think it's a waste of time and doesn't actually pay off as much as you think it does. I don't look at it. I am going to do a video on it at some point, but no. I have to decide before 6 p.m. Central if I'm starting Embiid. Should I just roll someone else out to fill my lineup? From the Sixers guy that I saw, they expected Embiid to play. It is definitely risky. Who's your other option? That's the question I go with, Gunners. Is it someone that's actually any good? I would probably just rather take the chance that Embiid plays. I believe that he is going to play, but I don't know that for sure. Is Yahoo better than ESPN? I believe it is, yes. Is Jamal Murray confirmed out for today? Yes. What do I think of the All-Stars picking their team before tip-off? Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's going to be really interesting. It's the only, look, I don't watch the All-Star game. But I think that's a really interesting change, and I'm pretty. I don't know if I watch it, but I'll definitely watch a replay of it. But I think it's a very positive change. You can hear Obi now. Is Gobert playing today? Robert, have a look at the screen. See the big blue Q next to Gobert's name? He's currently listed as questionable. So we don't know. Can I explain the Duran and Grimes sound drop? Yeah. The Jalen Duran sound drop is the beginning of a song by the band Duran Duran, which is Jalen Duran. Okay. The Grimes one is from a Frank Grimes from The Simpsons.
This briefcase and this haircut.
Who's my pick for Sixth Man of the Year? Timmy, I don't know yet because I think that's one that I really need to look at the end of the season because qualifications are going to be important. Like someone like a DeAnthony Melton might qualify for Sixth Man of the Year, then he's definitely in the mix. Bruce Brown might end up qualifying for Sixth Man of the Year. And I think they've been really important. But historically, my pick as to who I would give versus who I think is going to win is very different. The voters, for whatever reason they have in their head, whoever plays off the bench and scores points, that is who they give it to. And they're probably going to give it to Westbrook, even though he's been bad. Like he has been bad. He has been a negative player basically all season. Someone like a Bobby Portis is a useful Sixth Man of the Year option. Malcolm Brogdon's been a pretty good Sixth Man of the Year option, but they tend to go who scores points off the bench. They don't give it to those defensive guys like Bruce Brown, like DeAnthony Melton. They just really never do that. And they're going to give it to Westbrook is my guess. But Jesus, that's not what I would do. Does anyone care about All-Star Week? Yeah, Chouch, they do. A lot of people do. And I don't, but a lot of people do. Josh, what stats is Danny Green good at getting? Steals, blocks, and threes. That's all he does. What are the chances that AD and Bron play today? I'd be stunned if Anthony Davis doesn't play. Sounds like Monte is going to be out today, Monte Morris. I'd be stunned if Davis doesn't play, and I don't think LeBron will play. Who's my most improved this year? Probably Lauri Markkanen. I'd put Shea in that mix as well. I'm sure there's someone else I'm forgetting. They're the two names that stick in the top of my head. Again, really hard to do that stuff off the top of my head without actually sitting down and looking at it. But they're the two that appear off the top of my head. Josh, thinking of doing a semester abroad in Melbourne, would you recommend it? These questions are really hard for me to answer, Oscar, because I've never lived anywhere else, right? I've always lived in Melbourne. So like you live somewhere, you get used to it. Like it's good here. There's great food here. The weather can be a bit shitty at times. It's not as shitty as depending on where you come from in the States. Like if you live in Minnesota, then our weather's beautiful. Like, okay. It really just depends on when you're coming. I wouldn't recommend against it. I think it's be totally fine. Like we got really, our food here is unbelievable. If that's what you're into, we're a massive sporting city as well. Heaps of sporting events all the time. NBA fan quiz is a pretty fun app. Clarence, explain it. I'm sure it's easy to explain, but I'll have a look. Yes, Martin. You're a tenacity legend. He deserves Sixth Man of the Year because of his bad shooting, bad on-off numbers, boneheaded decisions, and high turnovers. Absolute six-man legend. That's why they're so good, the Lakers. Do I think the Clippers are still playoff threats? As in threats to make the playoffs? Yes. Chance to win it? Not really. 2% chance maybe. Like when you watch the Nuggets play, when you watch the Grizzlies play, when you watch the Celtics play, when you watch the Bucks play at times, when you watch even the Nets play with KD, the Clippers don't seem in that class to me. So even the Sixers, like I don't think the Clippers are a shot at that at this point. Which site am I using to view this chart? Aid, welcome to the show. Good to have you here for the first time. This is basketballmonster.com. Always enjoy those questions. It's good to get new people coming in. Do I think Jokic is a lock for MVP? No. Do I think he should win MVP? Yes. Do I think he's favourite? I know that he's favourite. But lock? Absolutely not. Did I visit the Australian Open? Yes, I was there on Sunday. And we watched Iga Swiatek and I always forget her name, Rabalenka. And Rebelenka beat her on the weekend. That's who I went to see. Who starts if Wiggins isn't available? That's a really good question. I don't think they'll go DiVincenzo because that would mean pushing Clay to the 4. I think they'll go with Kuminga, or the other one is Anthony Lamb. But I think they'll go with Kuminga. Let's see if we've got any. Marjon Beauchamp's out. That's the only other news we've gotten so far. Is Wright a play if Morris is out? Wright is a play if Morris is in. So yes. What are my thoughts on Bogdanovic as 6th man, at least in the discussion? He hasn't been that good. He hasn't played that many games. He shot pretty poorly. I wouldn't put him in that discussion, no. Not yet, anyway. Aaron says, your logic is undeniable. Well, sometimes it's deniable. Struggling with this one, Grayson Allen or Seth Curry long term? Seth. Especially because neither of those guys are long-term players. Right? Unless you're in like a 16-team league. Neither of those guys are long-term players. But in the short term, the Nets have got a really good intermediate short schedule. Curry's minutes are up with Durant out. And then when Durant comes back, you can move Curry on for somebody else. I'd rather have that short-term boost that Curry gives me versus the longer-term that Grayson Allen gives. Buddy Hield seems like he'll get traded this year. If you think someone's going to get traded, they're not. Like you just can't like predict this stuff or rely upon it. So if this is being done, and then the uprise of McConnell, do I think McConnell can get 28 to 30 minutes tonight? No, I don't. I don't think it's going to happen at all. Having McConnell and Halliburton together, I don't think is a great pairing. McConnell's minutes are up because Halliburton is out. I do not think this is going to happen. Coming from Amsterdam, I feel like the weather couldn't be any worse. Oscar, does it snow in Amsterdam? I don't know. I don't know what Amsterdam's weather's like in the winter. Out of teams with a winning record, are there any that you don't enjoy their style of play? I don't particularly like the Sixers style of play. Too many free throws. I don't really like that. Who else? Winning record. The Clippers can be annoying as well to watch. Have they got a winning record? I don't know. Nance get any minutes today? Yeah, like he gets minutes every game. So yes, he will definitely get minutes. Do I believe Zion will return at the 5th week of his injury? No idea. Absolutely no idea. No way of me being able to know that. So any answer I give you is just not real. It's just a guess. We can only go by the information they've given us. A 5-week timetable for a hamstring is marginally on the long side, but not really. It seems reasonable to suggest he'd be around that time. So sure, but who knows? Vassala dropped. Should have dropped him weeks ago. How many minutes do I think Ingram plays? Under 30. Would I activate Jabari tonight over Denny or Martin Jr.? That is a good question. Jabari, some could make the argument that Denny and KJ Martin could produce higher than Jabari, and Jabari's struggled for big chunks of the season already. That is tough, though. The upside of Jabari is higher than those guys. I'd probably activate him over KJ. Tell me how bad this trade is in my dynasty. KD, Dame, Kawhi, Middleton. There's just too much going on there. KD, Dame, Kawhi, Middleton, and Clay. 5 players for Denny, Onyeka, Clark, Cam Thomas. 2 first rounders, 3 seconds, and 1 third rounder. It's a ridiculous trade. Joel Embiid is out warming up on the court, by the way. It's a ridiculous trade. KD, Dame, Kawhi. It's an insane trade. But why also are we trading 5-6 guys at a time? It's a terrible trade. Pick up for today, Eason or Ingles? Eason probably gets really limited with Jabari back, so I might actually go with Ingles. If OG gets traded, is Precious a 10-team category league? Here's one that I say this not to pick on you, SGE, at all, because it's not what we're about here. But a couple of things you always have to remember. If OG gets traded, is Precious a 10-team guy? Well, who is OG getting traded for? All right, who is he getting traded for? Nobody? It's going to be a player. Has to be, for salary matching. Has to be players that come back. Now, we don't know who those players would be. We don't even know whether OG would get traded. If OG got traded and no starting caliber player came back and Precious would start, I'm still not sure he's a 12-team league or 10-team league player. He has very limited category league value because he can be very inefficient from the field and from the line. He's very hit or miss. He doesn't hit threes. His assists are non-existent. He's a low usage player. He can get rebounds, sometimes some blocks, but he's not a must roster 10-team league, category league player. And then you're waiting for a situation for OG to get traded and also hoping for somebody to not come back in his place. Like, what if OG is traded and Yucca Pirtle's the return? Then Precious is cooked. He's never playing over Pirtle. So I think trying to make moves or stashes based on weird situations like this, I don't think it's worth it. What else have we got going on? Defensive player of the year, Bam, OG, or Brook? I think it's Jaren. OG's, those guys are definitely all a top 5 to me, but I think Jaren is the answer. Is Mikhail for Maxi a good trade? Well, you got to give context, guys. I don't know what this means. 12-team points league, 10-team category league, Dynasty league, I got no idea. But I find it really hard to believe that Maxi's a better option than Mikal Bridges. But I don't know. Grab Reed for today, only if we know that Gobert is out, which we don't at this point. Rudy is questionable. So it's got a decent chance of busting. Game of the day. Let me look. It would have been Denver-Milwaukee. It is not. Indiana-Orlando. It's Brooklyn-Philly, surely. Even though no Durant, Brooklyn-Philly. I think that's a pretty good matchup. Simmons back in Philadelphia against Embiid. The other one that I'd like to look at is Toronto-Sacramento. The Memphis Golden State, actually. Yes, Adams is out, but everyone else should be ready to go. So let's do Memphis Golden State as game of the day. I actually think Atlanta OKC is a sneaky one too. Is Thomas Bryant a drop-off tonight? Yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't be. It's very hard for me. We'll see what happens, but very hard for me to think he's going to play 29 minutes tonight as we move forward. Is Cole Anthony a good pick for tonight? Well, I don't know who your other options are, and I also can't pronounce your name. He could be okay, but he could also play 23 minutes. Actually, he almost definitely will play 23 minutes and score 6 points on 6 shots. That's what Cole Anthony does. So he's okay, but I don't know who your other options are. Is Vassell a drop? Yeah, absolutely. McConnell or Fultz tonight? McConnell. Will the Nuggets be wise to rest Jokic's hammy for 2 to 3 weeks given their record? I think yes. Would it be wise? I would be considering it. I don't know what's actually going on. Is there a strain? Is there a pre-strain? Is there a hot spot? I don't know what's going on the imaging. But he's missed this will be his 3rd game in the last 4. They're sitting pretty strong. I'd be inclined to give him at least 10 days off. Hamstrings, notoriously, the rule of thumb used to always be over here in sport, like hamstring 21 days. That was the rule of thumb. 21 to 28 days, right? Give it at least 21. And you see it in the NBA. They come back 7 days, 10 days, and what happens? They hurt it again. It happens all the time. This is an injury that takes time to heal. So if there is an actual strain there, be it a marginal strain, then, yes, I think that would be wise. Who is MIP for Orlando's? I'm biased as I love Fultz, but they seem much better with him back. They are much better with Fultz back. Who's the most important? Do you mean most important player or most improved player? Because MIP means most improved. Most improved player for Orlando this season is... I don't actually know. Bol, probably. That's Bol, obviously. Most important. Well, the most important... Fultz is important to them, but it wouldn't matter if they didn't have Paulo and France. It wouldn't matter. Fultz gets them together, but get them together so that you can send the ball out to Chuma KK. It doesn't matter how much you organize a team if a KK is the one taking the shots and not Paulo Banchero. So while he is good, I don't think he's the most important. It rarely snows here in Amsterdam, but it's rainy all the time. That's the same as Melbourne in winter anyway. That's the same thing. How long do I think Cam Johnson's restrictions will last? Well, he played 30 minutes 2 games ago, so I'm not really sure he's on much of a restriction at all. But if I had to guess, I'd say another week. But yeah. He played big minutes a couple of days ago. How important is it to roster multiple players for every position? It's decently important. You've only got one small forward eligible player. I would like to have at least 2 players who can play every position. So that doesn't mean it has to be an exclusive small forward, but it makes it really tough that on a high volume day, you might have that small forward not playing and then you're left with nothing at all. And when 11 teams play and you've only got 9 guys going, that's a disadvantage. So I'd be looking to find someone else who's small forward eligible. Have I ever thought about making your own fantasy basketball platform with your own custom settings, for example, DFS and standard league combined top league? I've literally never thought of that in my life. Have I thought about making my own fantasy basketball platform? Yeah, but I have no technical ability to do that. I have to go into partnership with other people to do that. I have no idea what you mean by DFS and standard league combined type league. That's never something I've ever thought of. So no. What happens if records are tied at the end of the season? Who wins tiebreaker if head-to-head is also tied? That depends on the way the league is set up. If head-to-head is also tied, if standings are tied, it can be things like whose team scored the most points for the season. It can be a random coin toss. It just depends how things are set up. How confident am I that AD's bone spur doesn't cause another stress reaction? I'm not confident at all. When something I'm almost certain he's going to have surgery post-season on this. I am not confident at all. Who's better rest of season between Hart and Isaac? One guy is trending down, and that's Josh Hart. One guy is trending up. I think they'll probably end up meeting somewhere in the middle. But if you do believe in John Isaac more than I do, dropping Josh Hart for him, I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Getting close to the end here. It's always good to have you guys here. Here's a question. Why are so many people adding Tillman? Because Steven Adams is injured for 3 to 5 weeks and Xavier Tillman is going to be their starting center. That's why. Am I not webmaster of Basketball Monster? No, I'm not. I don't do any of the tech stuff there. I do all of the back-end analysis, writing, projections, but I don't do coding. I don't do any of that. Would you start a listener watcher league? You would have a good amount of applicants. Andre, it's great to have you here. I'm glad that you found the channel this season. We actually have, 720 teams in leagues this season through our Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl. There's 720 individual teams, 30 head-to-head leagues, 30 points leagues, 12 teams each. So yeah. Do I think SGA shutdown risk is officially gone? You're asking the wrong person, Ariel, because I didn't care about it at all. I didn't believe in it at all to begin with. So am I asking whether it's gone? Yeah. It never was there to begin with. Is TJ McConnell eligible to win sixth man? At the moment, he is, yes. You have to just start under half of your games. What's up with all the disc golf mentions? Am I a fan? Do I play? I've never played it. I thought it was interesting. The first time I read that ad, disc golf was mentioned, one of the sports they covered. I went, what is this? How is this a real thing that people are playing DFS with on PrizePicks? I didn't know it existed. And then I saw people say, man, disc golf's really sick. So it's just an ongoing bit, funny joke, laugh thing that I have. But I've never played it. No, I would like to play though. Am I worried about OG steals, declining steals? One thing, again, that's really important to take away. We're going to be out of here in a second as well. I talked about this a lot in the offseason also. Steals are very variable. They change a lot. Game to game, week to week, year to year. They are the most unstable statistic year on year. So when you see someone with high steals, and you go from 2 steals, very good, to 1.5, still very good, cuts 40 spots of your ranking value. And they are one play in a game of 100 possessions, 110 possessions. It's one play. A steal is one play. And it just creates these crazy fluctuations. It's one of the reasons why when you're banking on those categories to win, that it can really bite you in the ass because the low volume makes high variability. Man, I don't know why you keep asking about my jocks. I actually don't wear boxers or briefs. I wear a combination of the two. Under the radar Dynasty player. He started yesterday for Charlotte, Bryce McGowan's. And the other one who I think is like that is Blake Wesley. And we are getting out of here without any news on Embiid. Embiid should be good to play tonight. There you go. We don't have that 100%, but based on how he looked in his pregame warm-ups, Embiid should be good to play tonight. Take that for what it's worth. I was leaning that way anyway. That gives me a little bit more confirmation to lean on that. There you go. Don't blame me if it doesn't go wrong, if it goes wrong, but that's where we sit at the moment with Embiid. It looks like he will play. All right. Thanks, guys. Hit a thumbs up on the way out. Go check out the trade deadline landing page. Get involved in that as well. I'll see you guys later on.